Hello, beautiful people from the internet. It is Connie over here. I just woke up a moment ago. I have my coffee. There's some construction in the background. It's the same thing as always. But today I woke up with a question that I went looking for answers to, and today I will be sharing those answers with you in case you had the same question as I did. So, after a quick sip of our coffees, I just need to find my lighter. Got it. And today I'm actually going to be talking about a topic that interests me a lot, which is why is there such a disparity in the amount of people that smoke in Europe and the amount of people that smoke in America? Because with me having this channel for a little while now, especially in the comments, I can see how differently people react to cigarettes, which I thought was very interesting. So I took to researching on the internet, and I found a study conducted by a man called David Cutler, who is the Dean of the Social Sciences at Harvard University. And basically he made a study where he talked about exactly this question. So thanks to him, very smart man, he knew exactly what I wanted to know. So let's light up my cigarette and let's talk about what I discovered on my researches. So, the first thing that I personally thought before I saw any research, to be honest, was just the fact that in America, smoking is so looked down upon these days compared to vaping, that's why people don't really smoke cigarettes as much in America as they do in Europe. Keep in mind that still quite a lot of people smoke cigarettes. It's just, first of all, not as much as it used to be before, and not as much as it is in Europe, So the first thing that I thought, as I said, was like, oh, it's just like people just don't like it when you smoke there. They prefer if you vape, maybe because they don't like the smell, whatever. Which now that I look back, it's kind of a stupid argument, I guess, like what? And that is the reason why a whole nation smokes less than Europe. It doesn't make much sense. So the first thing that I figured was that people were actually thinking that it's because of taxes. That because people in America pay more taxes, they don't want to smoke because it's more expensive. But what they found out, it's actually the opposite. People in Europe often pay higher prices for cigarettes and higher taxes in cigarettes, and they still choose to smoke. So that argument was just thrown out of the window right there and then. Another thing that they were talking about is that in America, schools and health systems are way better at delivering the message, smoking is really bad for you and you probably shouldn't do it, and everyone is very aware of the risks and of how harmful cigarettes are. And David Cutler actually said that he thinks that maybe even the American population overestimates how bad cigarettes are for you. So maybe you Americans, are so aware of how bad cigarettes are that you actually think they are way worse than they actually are, which I think is a good idea, because if it keeps you from smoking, that's a good thing. I don't think that overestimating how bad cigarettes are for you is a bad thing or anything like that, I actually agree with, I think that's a good thing, and I think that America did a good job in that sense at telling people, this is really bad, here is what's going to happen to you. Don't do it, there's other things that maybe you could be doing. Which I found interesting because here in Portugal, I live in Portugal, so I can only speak on my country, of course, because I don't know the specifics for other countries. But growing up in school, it was very well known, we had a lot of campaigns, people coming to class and telling us stories about, how cigarettes are bad from a very young age. So we were kind of aware. So I don't know what in our European brains made us still want to smoke cigarettes, and then American kids were like, oh yeah, this is bad, I should probably not do this. Now I want to talk about numbers so that you guys see how different it is for Europeans and Americans. So what they found is that 1 in 4 Europeans smoke cigarettes and 1 in 7 Americans smoke cigarettes. So there's quite a difference there, Another thing that I thought was, here in Europe we have this pack is not too bad, but we have the graphic images in packs, And I was wondering, if we are so aware, we have these pictures Americans don't have these pictures in their packs, at least not for now, and I don't know if they will in the near future. And they still, you know, they still choose other things, you know. I know that the vaping culture is way bigger in America than it is in Portugal. Here you don't really see people with disposable pods. At least in my country it is illegal for them to have nicotine in them, so like disposable vapes and things like that don't have nicotine. And you don't really see anyone with like the machines, the vaping like devices, you know. So vaping here really isn't very common. The thing that's more common here these days is IQOS and smoking cigarettes, to be honest. You go outside and you see people smoking, you know. Now, I do think that my argument where I said that in America smoking is way more looked down upon actually has an effect, because from what I've heard from people in America, when you go outside, if you're smoking a cigarette, like walking down the street or something like that, you could get some stares, you know, you could get some looks, like people could look at you weirdly because you are smoking a cigarette. While here in Europe, that's not really going to happen, you know. You are walking down the street and smoking a cigarette and people are just minding their own business, you know, unless you like blow smoke in someone's face, which of course you should never do, right? That's annoying and disrespectful. No one is gonna give you a weird stare or anything like that. Even more, it's very common for people to be sitting at a coffee shop outside, of course, smoking a cigarette, or walking down the street smoking a cigarette, sitting at the park, all of the, you know, young adults, 20-year-olds smoking their cigarettes, you know. So I think it's way more engraved in the culture here than it is in America, maybe. I've never been to America. I can only talk by stories that I've heard from people, so I'm not exactly sure if this is the case for all American states, which probably it isn't, you know. It's just a very big generalization. But what I know is that here in Europe, you go outside and 10 out of 10 times you will see at least one person smoking if you're walking around for 15 minutes, you know. But I also found very interesting that they asked a lot of people, both in America and in Europe. I don't know exactly in what sense, like did they go around asking, did they conduct a survey online? I'm not sure. But American population is way more aware of the harmful facts of the cigarettes, to the point where 98% of the people that were, you know, asked about, do you think cigarettes are harmful? 98% of them were like, yeah, I'm sure cigarettes are harmful in some way. And that percentage was way lower in Europe. I don't know exactly what, because for some reason they didn't show it in the study, but they just said that in Europe, you know, the percentage of people that think that smoking is harmful is lower than in America, which I thought was kind of interesting, because we should all be aware by now, I think. Another thing that they talked about in that article that I found super interesting, and also I felt kind of bad about, you know, European, I guess, is that because Europeans make less money than America, the way they put it was, I just felt kind of bad, honestly. They wrote it like this: we Americans make more money, therefore we want to live longer because we are richer, and we don't want to smoke cigarettes to ruin our health early so that we can keep having our money, you know? The way they worded it was very weird. I don't know, I was like, God, okay, we are poor in Europe, I guess. I thought it was very interesting, but it kind of makes sense, I guess, because European countries, some of them, especially the non-English speaking European countries where there's still a large population of people that doesn't speak English, as they said, people just don't have as much money. So maybe, I don't know if it's directly correlated. I don't know if people in Europe are like, oh yeah, because I'm poor, I want to smoke because I don't really care about living longer. That doesn't make too much sense to me, but I can see it in the sense where if you have some wealth, I don't know, you have your own house, you have kids, you are established in the world somehow, you know, you have properties. Maybe you are more careful about your health. Maybe you even not only not smoke cigarettes, but you go to the gym, you go, you know, take care of your physical health. And if you do all of those things, you wouldn't want to smoke cigarette to like jeopardize all of these things that you are doing to keep yourself healthy, you know. I guess I can see it in that sense. The way it was worded in that article, I was like, oh my God, okay, weird. I don't know. I wasn't expecting it to be worded like that, you know. But also, of course, there's a disparity in the percentage of people that smoke in each European country, because of course Europe is not all the same, you know, all the countries have very different specifics about them. And what I found was that Bulgaria is actually the country in Europe with the highest smoking population percentage, so around 29% of the population 18 older smokes, which is like 1 in 4, exactly as I said in the study. But that is the highest percentage in like a country in the whole Europe. So for example, for my country in Portugal, I think it's around 21%, which is a little, I guess, considerably a little lower, but it's still like quite a lot of the population, you know? I don't know, I just found it very interesting, but I guess it all boils down to better health campaigns in America, I guess. The tax argument was refuted, you know, because we pay more taxes on cigarettes and we still choose to smoke them. You know, we have higher prices. For example, Australia as well has insane prices for cigarette packs, like going up to like 25 Australian dollars to have a pack of cigarettes, while here in Europe, at least in my country, we pay €5 for a pack of cigarettes, but I know that in England it's more expensive, like almost double that. Not sure about how it is in America. I would say it's about like $6, $7 for a pack of cigarettes. So I think I should do like a world tour and see how the prices are in all of the world, so that I could have a better understanding, you know, because sometimes information in the internet is like not as accurate as it is in real life. So I'm not sure about all of the prices that I've read, all the, you know, tables that I've read online about it. But I just thought it was very interesting, you know. So I guess it comes down to health campaigns, income. That's it. I think that people in Europe maybe are just not as conscious about how bad cigarettes are for them. Not sure. I mean, I am very conscious. I still choose to smoke though. I smoke 1 cigarette every 2 days. These days I've not been smoking 1 cigarette a day anymore. But I guess, you know, you need to have a lot of self-control, which maybe some people don't even have the mental space to try and have. With so many things going on in their life, the last thing they want to care about is self-control, you know. So they end up smoking more in order to try and deal with some things. I guess the income thing could come into play there, where if you are not as rich as an American person, as they said in that article, maybe you have more financial things to worry about. But I don't know if that's, because I know I've been talking to a lot of people in America these days and people my age, and I know that it's a difficult time for everyone, you know, financially. No one is really thriving that much, at least in my age, you know, group. So, I mean, I guess it's normal. I'm 22, so it's kind of hard for me to be thriving at 22, I guess. But I found all of these things super interesting, so I wanted to share them with you guys, you know. And I hope you found the information interesting. Mind you, I just woke up, so I'm not sure if I delivered it in the most intelligent, smart, informative way possible, but I sure did try my best. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye!